Agnostic.
Agnostic.
Ago.
Ago.
Her husband died 14 years ago. He should have finished at university long ago, but he kept taking extra courses. The little girl you saw a moment ago was my niece. Tom got a letter from him just a little while ago. They moved to a new house some time ago.
We had our bicentenary celebrations not that long ago.
Agog.
Agog.
I've been agog all afternoon, waiting for the next part of your story. Paul was agog with curiosity.
Agonize.
Agonize.
All the way home, she agonized about what she should do.
Agonized.
Agonized.
An agonized scream. From someplace close by, she heard agonized sobbing.
Agonize.
Agonizing.
Agonizing.
The pain was agonizing. An agonizing decision. At an agonizingly slow pace.
Agony.
Agony.
The agony of arthritis. I was in agony. He groaned in agony. It was agony not knowing if she would live. He was in agonies of remorse.
Agony aunt.
Agony ant.
Agony column.
Agony column.
Agoraphobia.
Agoraphobia.
Agoraphobic.
Agoraphobic.
Agoraphobic. Agrarian.
Agrarian.
Agree.
Agree.
Teenagers and their parents rarely agree. If she felt he was right, she would agree with him. Most people nowadays would agree that a good pub is one of our best traditions. We don't agree on everything, of course. We have to talk. Absolutely, Meredith replied. I couldn't agree more. I suggested we go somewhere for the weekend, and she agreed at once. No one really knows why he agreed to do the film. My sister won't agree to our mother going into a nursing home. We agreed to meet again the following Monday. They managed to agree on a date for the wedding.
We agreed that elections would be held in May.
We agreed a new 4-year contract.
Agreeable.
Agreeable.
We spent a most agreeable couple of hours. An agreeable young man. My parents are quite agreeable to my studying abroad. The main objective is to find a solution that is agreeable to the company in terms of cost. I think you'll be agreeably surprised by what I'm going to say.
Agreed.
Agreed.
The important thing is to have agreed objectives. All parties are now agreed on the plan. We're all agreed that we cannot spend what we have not earned. Let's just forget it ever happened. Agreed? Agreed.
Agreement.
Agreement.
They had made an agreement that they would share the profits equally.
Hayden came to an agreement with his creditors. An agreement on arms reduction.
Under the agreement, most agricultural prices will remain at the same level.
There is general agreement that copyright is a good idea. There is widespread agreement on the need for prison reform. A decision will not be made until everyone is in agreement. It is easier for 2 parties to reach agreement than for 3. Would their discussion result in his agreement to visit his stepmother? Such arrangements cannot be altered without the agreement of the bank. Please read the agreement and sign it. A hire purchase agreement.
Agribusiness.
Agribusiness.
Agriculture.
Agriculture.
More than 75% of the land is used for agriculture. Agricultural land.
Agricultural laborers.
Agritourism.
Agritourism.
Agrobiology.
Agronomy.
Agronomy.
Aground.
Aground.
Ague.
Ague.
Ah.
Ah.
Ah, there you are.
Aha.
Aha.
Aha. So you planned all this, did you?
Ahead.
Ahead.
He kept his gaze fixed on the car ahead. A hill loomed ahead of them. We could see the lights of Las Vegas up ahead. The clinic was now in sight, some way ahead. The river is 8 miles away, dead ahead. Henry hurried on ahead. He stared straight ahead. The ship forged ahead through the thin ice. There were 4 people ahead of me at the doctor's. You have a long trip ahead of you.
Problems may lie ahead. We do not foresee any major changes in the years ahead.
Unless we plan ahead, we are going to be in a mess. I cook rice 2 or 3 hours ahead. Can you tell me ahead of time if you're coming?
He's giving a series of concerts in London ahead of his international tour.
I arrived at Jack's suite half an hour ahead of schedule. Getting ahead at work is the most important thing to her at the moment. This design is light years ahead in performance and comfort. Coleridge was in many ways far ahead of his time. 2 shots from Gardner put the Giants 80-75 ahead. We are 10 points ahead in the polls. At this stage, Smith appeared to be ahead of his rivals. Can I have the sports section? Yeah, go ahead. I've read it. Frank'll be late, but we'll go ahead with the meeting anyway. Tests of anti-cancer drugs are to go ahead this year. Belmont City leaders have never been ahead of the curve in environmental matters.
Aholic. Aholic. Workaholic.
Workaholic.
Aholic.
Chocoholic. Chocoholic.
Aholic.
Ahoy.
Ahoy!
AI.
AI.
Aid.
AID. Aid.
Aid.
Foreign aid from many countries poured into the famine area. Convoys delivering humanitarian aid.
A substantial aid program.
He has been granted legal aid. Father Poole walked painfully with the aid of a stick. We're collecting money in aid of cancer research.
I didn't speak any French, but a nice man came to my aid.
A video is a useful aid in the classroom. A hearing aid.
What's this meeting tomorrow in aid of, then?
Aid.
Aid.
A presidential aid.
Aide de camp.
Aide de camp.
AIDS.
AIDS.
The AIDS virus. AIDS sufferers.
Full-blown AIDS.
Aid worker.
Aid worker.
UN aid workers.
Ale.
Ale.
This initiative is not the answer to what ails our educational system.
Ailing.
Ailing.
The ailing car industry.
Ailment.
Ailment.
Minor ailments.
The AIM.
Aim.
The aim of the research is to find new food sources. The main aim of the course is to improve your writing. a campaign with the aim of helping victims of crime. Teamwork is required in order to achieve these aims. A policy which sets out the school's aims and objectives. Alan took aim at the target.
Critics took aim at the president.
Val's aim was very good. We aim to finish by Friday. An initiative aimed at reducing road accidents. We're aiming for a big improvement.
The anti-smoking campaign is aimed at teenagers.
The criticism wasn't aimed at you.
He aimed his attacks at his opponent, calling him a political dinosaur.
Denver aimed his gun, but did not shoot. The pilot was aiming for the runway, but came down in a nearby field.
Aimless.
Aimless.
A young man drifting through life in an aimless way.
Ain't.
Ain't.
Aintree.
Aintree.
Air.
Air.
Let's go outside and get some fresh air. There was a strong smell of burning in the air. Flames leapt into the air.
He fell 2,000 meters through the air without a parachute. I'd prefer to travel by air. The victims of Britain's worst air disaster.
Air travel was growing rapidly. Air traffic congestion. His brother died in an air crash. There was a sense of excitement in the air. Change is in the air. She had an air of quiet confidence. She looked at him with a determined air. Our trip is still very much up in the air. We'll be on air in 3 minutes. Trudy is always putting on airs. An actor with no airs and graces. Staff will get a chance to ask questions and air their views.
KPBS airs such popular children's programs as Barney and Sesame Street.
The program is due to air next month. I've left my sweater outside to air.
Air ambulance.
Air ambulance.
Airbag.
Airbag.
Airbase.
Airbase.
Airbed.
Airbed.
Airborne.
Airborne.
Airborne pollutants.
Air brakes.
Air brakes.
Airbrush.
Airbrush.
Airbus.
Airbus.
Air Chief Marshal.
Air Chief Marshal.
Air Commodore.
Air Commodore.
Air conditioner.
Air conditioner.
Air conditioning.
Air conditioning.
Aircraft.
Aircraft.
Aircraft carrier.
Aircraft carrier.
Aircraftman.
Aircraftman.
Aircrew.
Aircrew.
Airdrop.
Airdrop.
Airfare.
Airfare.
Airfield.
Airfield.
Airflow.
Airflow.
Air Force.
Air Force.
Air Force One.
Air Force One.
Air freshener.
Air freshener.
Air guitar.
Air guitar.
Airgun.
Airgun.
Airhead.
Airhead.
Air hostess.
Air hostess.
Airily.
Airily.
I don't really care, he replied airily.
Airing.
Airing.
An issue that wasn't given an airing during the campaign. The program's first airing in 2000. A car which had its first airing at the Paris Motor Show. Put your houseplants outside to give them an airing.
Airing cupboard.
Airing cupboard.
Air kiss.
Air kiss.
Airless.
Airless.
An airless room.
Airlift.
Airlift.
Airline.
Airline.
An airline pilot.
Airliner.
Airliner.
Airlock.
Airlock.
Airmail.
Airmail.
Send the letter by airmail.
Airman.
Airman.
Air marshal. Air marshal.
Air miles.
Air miles.
Airplane.
Airplane.
Airplay. Airplay.
The new single is already getting airplay.
Air pocket. Air pocket.
Airport.
Airport.
The plane landed at Heathrow Airport.
Her family went to see her off at the airport.
Airport fiction.
Airport fiction.
Air pump.
Air pump.
Air quote.
Air quote.
Air rage.
Air rage.
Air raid.
Air raid.
Air rifle.
Air rifle.
Airship.
Airship.
Air show. Air show.
Airsick.
Airsick.
Airspace.
Airspace.
Canadian airspace.
Airspeed.
Airspeed.
Airstrike.
Airstrike.
Airstrip.
Airstrip.
Air terminal.
Air terminal.
Airtight.
Airtight.
Airtight containers. An airtight alibi.
Airtime. Airtime.
Advertisers have bought airtime on all the major TV networks.
Airtime provider.
Airtime provider.
Air to air.
Air to air.
An air-to-air missile.
Air traffic control. Air traffic control.
Air traffic controller.
Air traffic controller.
Air vice marshal. Air vice marshal.
Airwaves.
Airwaves.
A subject that's been debated on the airwaves.
Airway.
Airway.
Airworthy.
Airworthy.
Airy.
Airy.
All the hotel's bedrooms are light and airy. He dismissed her concerns with an airy wave of the hand.
Airy-fairy.
Airy-fairy.
Airy-fairy ideas.
Aisle.
Aisle.
Would you like a window seat or an aisle seat? H.
H.
People with Cockney accents tend to drop their H's.
Ajar.
Ajar.
AKA. AKA.
John Phillips, a.k.a. the Mississippi Mauler.
Akimbo.
Akimbo.
Akin.
Akin.
Something akin to panic overwhelmed him.
Allah. Allah.
Detective stories, a la Agatha Christie.
Alabaster.
Alabaster.
A la carte. A la carte.
Alacrity.
Alacrity.
She accepted with a clarity.
Aladdin's cave.
Aladdin's cave. Her apartment is an Aladdin's cave of antiques, old books, and fine paintings.
Alamo.
Alamo.
A la mode. A la mode.
Apple pie a la mode.
Alarm.
Alarm.
Alarm clock.
Alarm clock.
Alarmed.
Alarmed.
Environmentalists are alarmed by the increase in pollution.
He was alarmed to discover that his car was gone. The whole building is alarmed.
Alarming.
Alarming.
An alarming increase in violent crime. The rainforest is disappearing at an alarming rate.
Alarmist.
Alarmist.
Alarmist reports of health risks.
Alas.
Alas.
Donald, alas, died last year.
Albatross.
Albatross.
The issue has become a political albatross for the government.
Albino.
Albeit.
Albeit.
He accepted the job, albeit with some hesitation. Chris went with her, albeit reluctantly.
Albino.
Albino.
Album.
Album.
The band planned to release their new album next week. A photograph album.
Albumen.
Albumen.
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz.
Alchemy.
Alchemy.
Alcohol.
Alcohol.
I don't drink alcohol anymore. Alcohol abuse. People with alcohol problems. Low alcohol drinks.
Alcoholic.
Alcoholic.
Alcoholic drinks. An alcoholic stupor.
Alcoholism.
Alcoholism.
Alcopop.
Alcopop.
Alcove.
Alcove.
Al dente.
Al dente.
Alderman.
Alderman.
Ale.
Ale.
Alec.
Alec.
Alehouse.
Alehouse.
Alert.
Alert.
The animal raised its head, suddenly alert. Taking notes is one of the best ways to stay alert in lectures. Jack was as mentally alert as a man half his age. The authorities should have been alert to the possibility of invasion. The school immediately alerted the police. Campaigns to alert the public to the dangers of HIV. A full-scale flood alert. The bomb alert was raised soon after midnight. Be on the alert for anyone acting suspiciously. Troops in the vicinity were put on alert. All our border points are on full alert.
A-level.
A-level.
She decided to stay on at school and do her A-levels. I took maths, physics, and chemistry at A-level.
The Alexander technique.
Alexander technique.
Alfalfa.
Alfalfa.
Alfresco.
Alfresco.
We dined al fresco on a balcony overlooking the sea.
Algae.
Algae.
Algebra.
Algebra.
Algorithm.
Algorithm.
Alias.
Alias.
Friends star Jennifer Aniston, alias Rachel Green. A spy operating under the alias Barsad.
Alibi.
Alibi.
He had a perfect alibi, and the police let him go.
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland.
The book is a good introduction to the strange Alice in Wonderland world of theoretical physics.
Alien.
Alien.
The alien environment of the city. A way of life that is totally alien to us. Alien cultures. An alien multiracial society. Alien beings from another planet. Illegal aliens entering the country.
Alienate.
Alienate.
The latest tax proposals will alienate many voters. He felt that his experiences had alienated him from society.
Gina had become alienated from her family.